All right, in this section, we're going to talk a little bit about how we study stress itself. So we'll talk about kind of different methods of studying stress and some potential challenges of studying stress as well. All right, so three main ways that we study stress. First off is sort of just through natural observation, right? Maybe we can look at people in the real world and look to see who underwent a specific stressful situation and compare those to someone else who maybe didn't experience the same or that stressful situation at all. And we can look again to see, do these groups have different outcomes, different behaviors, different situations, and maybe tie connections then to that stressful situation. The next thing we can use are strategies that involve interviews or surveys or actually addressing and asking people specifically about some stressful event. Maybe we again compare people that did or didn't experience that event, but we see direct responses and feedback from actual people that underwent some stressful event. And then lastly, we can study this in the lab as well, where we actually control the stressor and control who receives what amount or what level of that stressor and compare those to people who maybe didn't and see what direct outcomes might have been caused by that stressor in our own control. And so these three different approaches have pros and cons to each of them. And we're going to talk through some of those limitations or challenges to measuring stress here as we go. So some of these challenges revolve primarily around the subjectivity of how we assess responses and feedback to stress. So maybe people might experience this stress in different ways. And so some people might have stronger reactions versus less strong reactions. There could be other health problems that might confound this response. So maybe someone who's dealing with other health problems has a stronger reaction to this stressful event, and it causes an increased reaction or an increased response to this event. And that can confound how much emphasis we put on the stressful event, when in reality, it might be more due to some of these health problems within different individuals, especially because we know stress and health go hand in hand, and stress can affect our health. Potentially, when we use surveys and interviews and talk with people directly, we might just simply be missing important questions to ask. Maybe some of those questions don't get at the entire piece of the puzzle and all of the components of the stressful event that we wanted to measure. Maybe some people aren't fully honest or aren't able to accurately assess themselves when responding in questionnaires and surveys. And then finally, sort of an interesting one here is that sometimes we could look at what we consider happy events, like maybe the birth of a child, and maybe these are stressful events that should be studied and investigated, but we don't really treat them or view them as stressful events. But in reality, there are lots of stressful components that go into some of these events. Now, that's just one example, but there are other examples of events or different type of stressors that we might miss as identifying as stressors because they have some other connotation to them. And so all of these are just some examples of the challenges we face when trying to study stress in this context. And again, our goal here is to try and uncover why these stressful events have some reaction to ourselves so that we can hopefully prevent or reduce those severe reactions going forward.